Hi, this is Calix.
Hi, this is TV. You're listening to Drum and Bass Arena. Hello, this is TB. I'm with Calix in his studio in London, and this is part one of our studio tips, pretty much.
Okay, this is like a general overview of my setup. Basically, I'm running on a G4, Mac G4, running Logic, and then I'm running all of my sound from the Mac out of this Motu 896. The Motu's it's a sort of quality audio interface, and then I run all my sound out of that and then into this Soundtracks desk. So I've got 10 outputs coming from the Motu. Outputs 1 and 2 with all my beats running in here into the desk. I'll have them panned to the centre. On those 2 channels, I'll use one channel that I'm specifically looking to EQ the sub, the low end, and maybe low mids, and the other one I'm looking purely for the sort of mids to tops frequencies. But the sort of main thing I use it for is clipping the gains, because I really like the sound of the sort of natural compression you can get from clipping analog gains. But every desk, depending on its circuitry, is going to have a different sort of sound on how they clip. Okay, well, my musical background is when I was young I learnt several musical instruments. So I learnt guitar and piano since I was 6. Before drum and bass came along, I was playing in quite a few jazz and jazz funk bands, and basically that's what I'd set my sights on, was being a jazz guitarist.
I started off breakdancing when I was really young, and bought my first ever sort of 7-inch when I was like 7, or I was 7 actually. I come from it from a different perspective, and I've applied my own rules, you know, like especially when learning my equipment. I had no one around, nothing. It was all me. I even threw the manuals away because they didn't make sense to me in the first place, rather than like wasting my entire life on learning how to play piano like a ninja, you know what I mean, when I'd rather make bass like a ninja.
I've got 2 Alesis MIDI Verb 4s. I tend to use the sort of effects I can get off those in Logic now, but with my bass tops channel, but not my bottoms channel, and with my stereo outs, sometimes I'll add just a little bit of chorus, really subtly, but just gives a little bit of width, especially as I run my bass completely in mono. Here's a Focusrite Green, which is like really nice EQ, I still use once in a while. And then here's 2 compressors, which actually are very, very rarely used. I'm actually not a really big fan of compression, because you tend to squeeze the dynamics out of the tune. My sort of alternative to compression is clipping the analog gains, because you get a very similar effect. In terms of my monitors, I've got Dynaudio BM15s, which I really, really like. That's the Lord, our dear Lord.
Yeah, I'll get in there as well.
That's the Lord Gianfranco Zola. Gives me inspiration. The other aspects of my monitoring is this JBL sub. If you have a sub on all the time, sometimes it can sort of deceive you into thinking that there's loads of sub. But then when I'm nearing the end of the mix, just one thing I'll do is I'll turn off the monitors. I'll have the sub turned on. I'll have my track, let's say, running up into this second yellow light here, and I'll have the other track that I'm cross-referencing with running at exactly the same level. And with this sub, what it's got is it's got a sort of sweepable cut-off filter. And then as I sweep down towards 50 hertz, I'll hear the snare, and then the weight in the snare vanish, and then I've got the kick and the sub, and then as I go down, I'll hear the weight in the kick vanish until I'm just down to the pure sub at the bottom. I'll be cross-referencing, let's say with, let's say an optical track or something, and I'll flick between the 2, and I'll hear the sort of weight and punch in his kick, and where that's sitting and where it is in mine, and where the weight in his snare is, and how much weight there is in his and how much there is in mine. It's just a good way of judging sort of the lower end and lower mid aspects of your mix.